The engine shouldn't have been running. Petty Officer Caleb Rourke surfaced from sleep slowly, dragged upward by vibration before consciousness caught up. It wasn't the usual dockside hum of shore power. This was deeper, rotational, alive. Propulsion. He opened his eyes to darkness threaded with red standby LEDs. His rack curtain swayed slightly. They were moving. He checked his watch. 0241. The craft had been secured in dry dock, power isolated, fuel lines tagged. He'd signed the checklist himself. Rourke swung his legs over the side and stood barefoot on cold deck plating. The hull transmitted motion through his bones, a steady glide, not fast but deliberate. Someone had taken the boat out. He pulled on his trousers and stepped into the passageway. The air smelled wrong. Not diesel, not hydraulic fluid. Salt. Fresh salt. As if they were already offshore. The corridor lights were dimmed to night setting, casting long shadows along the narrow bulkheads. He moved forward quietly, one hand grazing the wall for balance. The first thing he noticed was the silence. No watch rotation chatter. No low music from the electronics tech's compartment. No clink of someone making mid-watch coffee. Just the engine's muted thrum and the faint hiss of wake against hull. He reached the ladder well and climbed to the main deck. The hatch was already open. Wind slid in, cool, damp, carrying open water air. That was impossible. Dry dock meant scaffolding, concrete, welding arcs, not horizon. Rourke stepped through. Black ocean stretched in every direction, moonlight striping the surface in fractured silver. The shoreline was gone. No harbor lights, no cranes. Just sea. The combat craft cut forward smoothly, bow lifting and settling in long rhythm. And someone was at the helm. Rourke moved along the deck toward the cockpit enclosure. The figure inside stood rigid, hands resting on the wheel. Wrong posture. Too straight. He pushed the door open. The man at the helm wore standard-issue night watch gear, same deck jacket, same patch, same haircut regulation. But his skin was pale, almost translucent in the instrument glow. Veins faintly visible beneath, not blue but gray. His eyes reflected nothing. Who authorized departure? Rourke demanded. The helmsman didn't turn. We are already underway, he said. His voice carried no strain, no breath. Just sound. Rourke's stomach tightened. You're not on my watch, Bill. The man's fingers tightened around the wheel. Correct. Outside, more movement flickered across the deck. Rourke stepped back into the passage and nearly collided with another crew member walking toward him. Corporal Mendez. Except Mendez had transferred 3 months ago. The figure stopped inches away. Water dripped from his sleeves. Steady. Unhurried. Rourke's pulse began to hammer. They'd been tracking rumors for weeks, reports from other units about phantom returns on radar, crew hearing boots on deck after midnight, log entries written in handwriting that matched no one currently assigned. The brass called it fatigue. They called it the Summer Club, because every sighting happened offshore during night rotations in warm water, because something seemed to board vessels quietly and leave before dawn. Rourke stepped backward. How many of you are here? He asked. Mendez's head tilted. All assigned personnel, he replied. Behind him, more figures emerged from compartments, some familiar, some not. Faces from old deployment photos, names from casualty lists. 1 or 2 Rourke had seen only in archived incident reports marked classified. All soaked. All calm. The helmsman spoke again from inside the cockpit. We appreciate your assistance. With what? Rourke asked, though he already knew. The vessel altered course slightly. The compass heading shifted 3 degrees port. We have located the source, the helmsman said. Rourke felt it then. A subtle pull beneath the deck. Not mechanical. Directional. like the sea itself had decided something. Mendez stepped aside and gestured toward the bow. Invitation. Rourke moved forward slowly, boots slipping slightly on water that hadn't been there seconds before. At the bow rail, he looked down. The ocean surface directly ahead was darker than the surrounding water. Not shadow. Depth. It rotated lazily, a wide circular current forming where no current should exist. The craft steered straight toward it. Behind him, the ghost crew gathered in silent formation. We were separated, Mendez said quietly. From what? Rourke asked. From the hull. The water ahead began to sink inward, forming a slow, deliberate spiral. The helmsman increased throttle. Rourke turned sharply. Cut engines, he shouted. No one moved. The ghost crew raised their heads as one, and beneath the spinning water, something vast shifted upward. It wasn't a breach. It was a recognition. The sea thinned. That's the only way Rourke could describe it later, if there had been a later for explanation. The black surface ahead stretched taut like fabric drawn over a frame, translucence creeping through in widening veins. Beneath it, geometry moved. Not a creature in the biological sense. Structure. Angles intersecting at impossible proportions. Planes sliding past one another without friction. A lattice the size of a stadium suspended in vertical ascent. The spiral tightened. The bow crossed the threshold. The water didn't splash. It parted. The hull glided forward into a cavity of suspended liquid like entering the pupil of something immense. The engines went silent. Not powered down. Silenced. Rourke felt the deck lose weight beneath his boots. The horizon vanished. Above them was no longer sky, but a vaulted chamber of shifting blue-black translucence. The ghost crew stepped forward as one unit. They were no longer dripping. They were evaporating. Edges fraying into vapor, their forms thinning into filament strands that reached toward the ascending lattice below. You were never hunting us, the helmsman said, voice now layered, multiple tones occupying the same sentence. You were tracing the wake. Rourke backed toward the cockpit, fingers scraping for anything solid. What is it? The answer came not from the helmsman, but from the water. A vibration rolled through the hull, not sound, not impact, but resonance. The deck plating hummed under his feet, matching a frequency he felt behind his teeth. Interface. The lattice rotated, revealing negative space at its core, a hollow large enough to cradle the entire craft. The ghost crew turned toward him. For the first time, something like urgency flickered across their faces. We require cohesion, Mendez said. You're dead, Rourke snapped. Incorrect, came the reply. The deck tilted subtly as the vessel drifted closer to the structure's center. We were distributed. Distributed. Like signal. Like current. Rourke's training clawed for logic. Unexplained boardings, lost sailors, missing deck logs. Something was sampling crews, mapping human operational systems, not abducting, integrating. The helmsman stepped away from the wheel. The boat maintained its trajectory without him. You remain anchored, he said to Rourke. Biological continuity intact. You are necessary. For what? The lattice shifted again. A recess opened within it. Angular, precise, shaped suspiciously, like the negative imprint of the craft itself. A dock. Not for the hull. For the crew. Rourke understood with sudden, nauseating clarity. The summer club wasn't haunting ships. It was recruiting frameworks, taking operational memory from crews lost at sea, reassembling them here, testing cohesion against living command structures. You want me to connect you? Rourke said hoarsely. The ghost crew advanced one step. Not threatening. Aligning. Command logic incomplete, the helmsman said. Organic command required to stabilize transfer. The deck beneath Rourke's boots grew warm. From the hull, from below, the sea, or whatever this suspended medium had become, extended filament-like tendrils that brushed against the vessel's underside with delicate precision. The lattice waited, open, patient. Behind him, Mendez spoke one last time. We were separated from the hull. The structure pulsed. And now, he said, you are.